What's up, y'all? This is Carla, aka Seela the Poet. Happy 4th of July. And today it's after the 4th of July, but um there's the federal observance of the 4th of July. Yesterday was the 4th, and now a lot of people today are on a day off from work. So I just wanted to say that to those who do celebrate this holiday and to those who don't because of racism and because of slavery. More power to you for those who don't celebrate the holiday as well. So I wanted to have a talk today about MGTOW. For those of you that don't know what MGTOW is, it's a men's lifestyle slash movement who are misogynistic, anti-feminist, and basically are disgruntled about the fact that men are being treated unfairly in society and by the courts. Um, what happens is a lot of the MGTOW men are complaining about women, complaining about their choices in the people that they date, complaining about child support, complaining about divorce, and how the courts are favoring women when it comes to divorces and alimony and things of that nature. And I am a feminist, and I would like to address the MGTOW movement. So, one thing I want to say to the MGTOW movement is that I think that you guys need to rethink this MGTOW movement of yours. I'm not saying that you have to stop being MGTOW, but you need to analyze your movement and you need to see about what motivates your movement. You need to rethink MGTOW. So I am a feminist, and let me start by giving you the definition of what a feminist is. So for those who don't know what feminism is a belief in the social, political, and economic equality of the sexes. The goal of feminism is to challenge the systemic inequalities women face on a daily basis. So historically, women were basically treated inferior. There was a time in history where women did not have rights. And the reason why this occurred was because of patriarchy. For those of you who don't know what patriarchy is, let me give you the definition. So, patriarchy is a societal system in which men hold primary power and social privilege, political leadership, moral authority, and control of property. And so, a society where there's a patriarchy means that the women, which is the other gender, will be being treated unequally. And that was what was going on, which was a major reason why feminism developed. Women were not treated as equals. We were treated as second class citizens. At one time, we were considered property. And the men controlled not only our bodies and our sexual relations, but also controlled property, controlled our social lives, and women did not have what we call self-autonomy. So because of feminism, there has been great accomplishments, there's been great strides, and now a lot of women have gained a lot of self-autonomy and rights. And I believe that men's groups like MGTOW and other groups, men's rights groups, are developing because of a pushback. It's kind of like a counter resistance movement because they want things to go back to the way it was during the traditional historical periods. They want things to be more traditional where they gain more power. The way that feminists see MGTOW, as if I know that MGTOW means men going their own way, but the way that most feminists and women see your movement as men that are triggered by women, you know, men triggered by women. That's the way that we see your movement. And the movement also has a lot of inconsistencies. Um, I have started researching and just kind of analyzing the movement, which is fairly new. It's not that old, but it's fairly new. I believe that it was started by somebody in Australia or something like that. But this movement has a lot of inconsistencies, and some of it is based on incorrect information. Um, so let's go into my issues with the MGTOW. I decided to write some notes just to kind of speak about just kind of some of the issues that I have with it, because I'm a feminist, and like I said, but I'm an objective feminist. I'm not one that, I believe in men and women's equal rights. I believe in the society treating men and women equally when it comes to rights and when it comes to different issues. It's not just about women gaining rights, it's also about men being treated fairly as well. So let's talk about some of the issues I have. I hope that you can follow. So let's see. My main issue with MGTOW is that I've seen a lot of men in the MGTOW movement state that they generalize and state that men are more logical and that women are more emotional. But the main reason why the MGTOW movement began was because of anger. When you really look at the source of the MGTOW movement, it's disgruntled men, traumatized men, men that have suffered rejection and unfair treatment by society and have gotten angry at it. And not just that, another aspect of the MGTOW movement is fear. Because a lot of these men have been traumatized, or they have been mistreated by society, or have been rejected by women and just have not had good relationships with women, okay, then fear becomes a main motivator behind some of the practices of MGTOW, okay? A lot of men have decided that some of the MGTOW men have decided to become MGTOW monks, meaning that they completely shut themselves away from society, absolutely no female contact, no dealings with females, no socializing with females. They are also the other parts of the MGTOW movement that have decided that they are going to start having sex with sex dolls as opposed to having sex with real women. And that's another thing altogether. I can't really knock the sex doll thing because feminists and women also use sex toys. They use dildos, they use vibrators. So I can't be a hypocrite and say, oh, yeah, well, look at that. Y'all are going to be using sex dolls or whatever. I'm pretty sure that people use those things for different reasons, but I think that people are often not honest or about why the motivator behind why they're using it. And that's the thing. Whether it's a feminist that's using a sex toy or whether it's a MGTOW male that's using a sex doll, they're not objective about the good and the bad of it. So when it comes to the sex doll thing, I'm just going to talk about three things. And this can also apply to sex toys when it comes to, or if women decide to use sex dolls as well. I just want to talk about just a couple of things that concern me when it comes to that. So when it comes to the dolls, the technosexuality, there are three issues that is something that is worth looking at. Okay, so when you start having sex with sex dolls or objects, right? It normalizes something called agalmatophilia, which is sexual attraction to dolls or other figurative objects. So whether it's a doll or whether it's a dildo, that becomes an issue, and that kind of alters your mental state. The same thing with something called somnophilia, which is sexual arousal to someone that is unconscious. So when a male is having sex with sex dolls, he is also influencing himself to become a somnophiliac. So you're sexually aroused by a doll that is unconscious, and these type of things, it affects the brain. And for some men, that can cause other types of sexual deviance, because the thing is, you're practicing this on this object, but you don't realize that it's not going to destroy your sexual urges. You're going to be doing it, but it doesn't destroy the urges. And for some men, the sex doll will not be enough for them. It won't be enough for them because the drive is too strong. And if you're doing that with the doll, then you may end up trying to have sex with women who are unconscious. Okay? It also normalizes necrophilia. Necrophilia is sexual attraction to corpses. The thing is that a sex bot is not alive. Okay? Whether it's a man or woman that's using it, it's not alive. And the thing is, you're having sex with something that doesn't have life, which means it's dead. So necrophilia, you're normalizing that when you have sex with these things. Okay? So these are just things to think about. Now, I know I'm not going to be able to change anybody's mind, what they're going to do when it comes to, that part of their life. Sexuality is very complex, and certain people feel a need to do certain things, but these are just things to think about. It's always good to be objective when you're thinking about actions that you're going to be doing. Okay? So let's continue with my other issues. So that was the technosexuality part. Also, MGTOW men state that women control the dating market, but that's not completely true. What men don't understand is that they set the rules for the laws of attraction in the dating market. You have a lot more power than you think, guys. Okay? The motivators for the laws of attraction are set by men and masculinity. Okay? So misogyny and patriarchy, and men set the laws for the laws of attraction. You guys set the age at which women are attractive. Men usually like younger women because they're more, they don't have as much, intelligence, and they're more quote unquote submissive or cooperative. That's a generalization. Okay, men set the body shape for which women are supposedly attractive in society. A lot of men, they like either women who have big breasts, big ass, and they usually don't necessarily find women that may be big women or fat or whatever as attractive. Okay, the body type, the breast size, okay, what women wear. You guys are the brains behind the fashion industry. Okay, because the fashion industry is motivated by what men find sexy. And this is something that you men, you don't think about, but you need to think about it. Okay, so if women, they have a level of control when it comes to who is being dated, you men control the laws of attraction, like what is found to be attractive. And not just that, a lot of times in dating, the goal for a lot of people is marriage. And men, you're the one who usually have to propose, and you have to stand up in society and be the ones to choose mates for marriage. So you men actually have more power than you think. Okay, that's something to think about, MGTOW men. Okay, another thing is that a A lot of the MGTOW men complain about single mothers and they complain about our sexual habits, but they don't hold that same accountability for the sexual habits of men around them. Okay, you want us to what's the word, educate our young women to not dress in a certain way and to not be sexually promiscuous and sexually provocative. But you men don't teach the other men in your circles how to have sexual self-control, not to go out there and rape, not to go out there and cheat with side chicks, okay, not to go out to not go out there and respect women, okay, and not see them as sex objects. You don't hold the same accountability for the men in your circles, and you want the sexual responsibility to only be placed on women. I find that problematic. Okay. Also, when it comes to you refusing to procreate, some of you, because some MGTOW men refuse to get a chick pregnant, according to my friend who is a part of the MGTOW movement. Well, think about this, MGTOW guys. If you refuse to procreate, you're going and you're having sex with these sex dolls. Once you begin to die off, your movement and ideology dies off with you. Because you're not having children, that means there are not any more women that are being born, and there's no more men that are being born. And so if there's no more women or men, in your case, being born, you cannot espouse this ideology to a younger generation. So it's just kind of ridiculous. There are just certain things in your movement that I think that you need to address. Okay. Let's see if I have any more notes. I think that MGTOW men should actually cooperate with feminists. I think that they should all get into a room and have a sit down and discuss all the issues and come to some type of compromise. I think that as adults and as intellectual men and women, and if in a respectful setting, I think that they could come to an agreement or some type of consensus, because there's just certain things that I think are a lot of misunderstandings. And if people would just sit down and look at the things that both movements are actually espousing, I think that you would find that both the movements have a lot of things in common. Feminism and MGTOW have in common is that each gender wants respect. Feminists want respect, and MGTOW men obviously want respect. But the problem that comes in here is that the MGTOW men are unaware of patriarchy and misogyny. The thing is that patriarchy is what is ruling the society. So even though there may be more women in the world, it is the men that hold the power in society. And as long as the men hold the power in society, the women are often treated as second-class citizens or inferior. Okay? Women had to actually fight for a lot of the rights that you see women enjoying today. We had to fight for the right to be able to speak in public. We had to fight for the right to have reproductive rights. Okay? The right to actually take birth control. We had to fight for the right to go to school. We had to fight for the right to actually go out and work. And in society, at one time, we didn't have those same rights. And now that we do, now there's a pushback to try to go back to how it was before. Is that really fair? It's not really fair, for anybody to be oppressed in society is not a fair thing. Okay? Understand this. Just like with the Atlantic slave trade in the United States, where you had white oppressors, European oppressors, and you had slaves, you had that imbalance of power. It is the same thing in society when it comes to gender. Okay, most of the men, in society are in the Senate. A lot of men mainly control the government. A lot of men control the corporations. A lot of men control the powerful companies that exist in the United States. There's not a lot of women CEOs, okay? There's not a lot of women, there has never been a woman president. So I think a lot of men, they just are not really in tune with the reality of the power imbalance. Okay? And women have to fight for the rights that they get. They have to fight to be respected because of misogyny. Misogyny always disrespects women and paints them as lower individuals, paints them as somebody that doesn't have the same rights or deserve the same rights, paints them as sex objects, paints them as um weak-minded emotional individuals that can't have a logical thought, and all of these ideas are wrong. So these are just some things I think that MGTOW needs to think about, just that power imbalance in society. um and just come together with feminists and sit down, have a round table, and look at the things that you want to happen for a better and a fairer society. To get to a sense of balance in society where people are, getting benefits that are equal benefits, and that there's no unfairness. And those are my thoughts for now. So there will be more content coming up, and I just wanted to address that because I've been really thinking about it. And like and subscribe if you can feel what I'm saying, or dislike if you don't like what I'm saying, and comment on why. And that's all I have to say. Peace.